Welcome, my dear viewer, to Dr. Paul Kibicho, PhD, QBHSC official YouTube channel. I want first of all to thank all of you who've been taking a lot of keen interest in following me in my various videos and programs. And today I thought it was good for me to discuss a very pertinent issue. I have always tried as much as I can to give various topics on given social landscapes. And today I thought it was good for me to discuss about matters education. So today I'm not talking about Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited. I'll be talking about the need for us as parents to plan for our children's education. And why has it become a subject matter of discussion this particular evening? Number one, it is because if you go to town right now, you'll find so many parents who are trying to look for uniform for their children who have been invited in various schools, some in national schools, others in extra county schools, others in county schools, and others in our local schools. But all in all, as a parent, you need to have prepared for that particular child. I understand the economy is actually in a very bad status. But I'll remind you something. There is no single time that you have ever had people rejoicing, all of them in an entire social setup or the entire population rejoicing and giving a testimony how the economy is good for all of them. Every time, every season, we have people complaining about the economy being bad, and others saying that the Lord has been on their side this far, and others even making what we call super abnormal profits. All those are scenarios that will happen with all of us people in our journey of life. And before I forget, it would be very, very unfair for me not first of all to pass my message of condolences to our president, our third president of the former president of the Republic of Kenya, Emilio Moi Kibaki. I'm sending my message of condolences to the family, to this nation, and to every other part of the world where our former president was known. He was a gallant leader, he did a commendable job, and may he rest in peace. Now, having said that, today, once again, not even today, today is a Friday, 22nd of April 2022. The whole of this week I've been traversing this, at least I've traversed in 3 counties. I have been to Nairobi County, I have been to Kiambu County, I have been to Kirinyaga County, and I've also been to Nyeri County. And because I interact, my business involves meeting people. Every day, I have had some parents complaining that they do not know where they'll get money for their children. And well, we can't be equal. And there is no single time that all of us people will be equal. In our lifetime, we shall always have some people ahead of us, others are where we are, and others are slightly behind us, or others are very far away from where we are. And that is nature. It is not going to change, and don't expect that change to be there. Remember, the person that you're looking forward to, he too or she too has got people that he or she looks forward to. Nobody is completely in his or her apex or the ultimate pinnacle of success. We all try as much as we can. Allow me to say a few benefits of education, and I'm encouraging our parents, especially those with children, that will take my advice very, very seriously. Education is the only inheritance that once you bequeath it to your child, he or she will never sell it. It will only come into what we call absolute no use. It will become of absolute no use upon death. So for those parents who leave pieces of land for their children, it's all right because the Bible says so, that we must leave an inheritance to our children's children. But the greatest inheritance that a parent can give to his or her child is education. Reason being, no one can sell education. So if today, as much as whatever I can do, no matter what I can do, whatever is in between the 2 years, nobody can tamper with that, apart from either death or maybe disability or maybe mental sickness. So one of the greatest investments that a parent can talk of is surely education. And personally, I've got children who are in school, some in the university, others have cleared high school, they're waiting to join university. I have others now in other levels of the learning process. And well, I believe all of us, God, when God was creating people, when God created you, he knew for sure that we are not going to be at par, all of us. But at your level, you need to do what you can. At your level, you need to sacrifice some of the income that you get so that you may give your child the very best. Now, I have said it and I'm going to say it again and again. And I don't fear anyone, by the way, when I'm saying this. I have been an insurance consultant for the last 30 years. I have educated my children using the same facility. And for those people who are doubting Thomases who would wish to go to the institutions that my children have gone through, I can always give you the reference point and see what I do. If somebody came and requested or somebody demanded from you 100,000 shillings at once, it may become a doubting task. But if somebody told you, be putting aside at least 1,000 shillings every month, and the money that you are putting aside every month is not within, is actually without your reach, you'll be able to save a lot of money that will save you a lot of agony. Now, many of us people, we have children, and some of us, we are even employed. Some of us, we even have salaries. Some of us, we have businesses that gives us returns on investments. But people don't like, I don't know what happens. Personally, I was sent home for school fees balances 21 record times. And I found that I told God one thing, and God knows how passionate I am about it. That once God, you give me children and you give me a job or an income, allow me, God, to plan for my children's education so that they may not walk the same way I walked, which was a very bad way anyway. There is nothing that pains a parent than to see a child coming home because of school fees. It is one thing that makes a parent to be so frustrated in life, so depressed. So to avoid depression, I've come to give you a solution. Yes, I know after this I'll be coming now with the topic of Quest Pinnacle Investment Venture Limited. It's still an avenue of saving money because if you have a child who is in grade 3 right now, you know in 3 years' time you require school fees for that particular child. So Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited may come in and give you the much needed money, which is okay because why do we invest our money in the first place? We invest money so that that money that we have invested can be able to solve our financial problems when we need analysis. If you have saved, I've been giving people a very simple example that if you put a shilling every day in maybe in what we call, you can call it maybe a pot bank or what have you, but within 30 days, you have accumulated 30 shillings. If you put 100 shillings, you have accumulated 300 shillings. If you put 1,000 shillings within 30 days, you have accumulated, you can imagine, if you keep 1,000, you have accumulated 30,000 shillings within a month. And that is the simple foundation upon which one decides to use so that you can create funds for your child's education. Education, once again, and I repeat, is what has brought me this far. It is purely because of education that I have an office like this, that I can be able to use my consultancy, that I can be able to pay my rent and pay my staff members who operate from this particular office. Because my parents bothered to take me to school. I know there are some parents who say that education is not everything. Fine. There are those who use every unorthodox method to justify their failures. And I'm saying so because I'm a parent. So I'm urging every parent listening to me today. If you're there and you're a parent and you have got children, remember, you had the option of not getting those children. Don't we have Catholic priests who don't have children? Most of those who actually embrace what we call celibacy. Don't we have men who have not married by choice? And of course, I hope they don't get children out there because they're running out from responsibility. So what do we require to do? And I'm only going to say it plainly without necessarily going deep into it. That it is very, very simple. And this is what white people do. This is what Europeans do. Once you get a child, like now I've got my last born daughter. I know how old she is. And I'm very well versed with the CBC, the curriculum-based, the competency-based curriculum. So why should I appear to be caught by surprise when my child joins junior high school? I already knew it is in public, it is actually within my knowledge that in the next, like now she's in grade 3, in the next 3 years, my child will be joining junior high. So what am I doing about it? And I don't know I had not know what I'm praying to God, that God may make people to see. Because the Bible says we have eyes and we don't see. We have ears and we don't hear. I have talked about this for 30 years. And what surprises me is that we still have some individuals who can't make a decision despite God endowing them with resources. They want to be like wheelbarrows, not good unless pushed. It's quite unfortunate. God has given you a piece of land that you can till and get harvest out of it. But you still expect God to come and take what we call a machine, or to take what we call a plowing machine or a plowing tractor, to prepare that for you, to plant for you, to weed for you, and eventually to harvest and give it to you. It doesn't work like that. God has given you the ability to think. God has given you the capacity to think. God has given you good health. God has given you money. And I do not know what it is that you eat. So assuming my director, Mr. Onesimus Waiguru, has a 1-year-old child. This 1-year-old child has got at least 3 years to go to PP1. So Waiguru, you have got 3 years right now before your child joins PP1. And therefore, when this child joins PP1, it is not your school. It is somebody else's investment. So you have to pay school fees. So as early as 4 years, you start paying school fees for that particular child. Therefore, you need to start putting money aside right now so that by the time the child is joining PP1, you have money for that particular child. The child will take 2 years because according to the Education Act, the child will only join what we call grade 1 upon attainment of 6 years. So you have got 3 years, then you have got another 6 years. If PP1 and PP2 is not an issue, and grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 up to grade 6 is not an issue, because many parents prefer planning for their children when they go to what we call junior high. But if you have the resources and you have the time, we can even educate from grade 1. Doesn't matter. We have plans that can take care of that. I'm only giving a practical example. So when you take this plan, assuming we are still using Mr. Onesimus Waiguru, one of our directors at Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, because you have a child who is now, assuming the child is 2 years old, so the child has got 2 years to go to grade 1 or to PP1. So the child will take 2 years to join grade 1. Then from grade 1 to junior high, those are 6 years. So you need to take a plan that upon attaining on the 8th year, this child that you have, when he or she joins junior high year 1, you start getting school fees. From that moment, from year 1, year 2, year 3, that is junior high year 1, junior high year 2, junior high year 3, we shall pay school fees for that child. Then we come to senior high year 1, senior high year 2, senior high year 3, we still pay school fees. When the child is joining university, we still provide for you the school fees. Now, I do not know why did these guys called the Chinese come up with what we call a puri. It is purely to make work easier. So I do not know why people still want to use the rudimentary, the years formulas that doesn't give what we call joy to people. Why should you struggle when a solution has been provided unto you? Why should you bother? The question is, God has given you, why do we have a car? Somebody realized there are some distances that can't be covered by walking. You can't walk from here to America. You can't walk. So what did this person do? He came up with what we call an aircraft. So because of that particular problem that was facing mankind, somebody brought a solution to that. Why am I using my laptop? It is because somebody realized, who knew? Let us even go to the issue of COVID. See how people see far. When we were all told to work from home, because courtesy of education, we were able to use what we call the Zoom. We were able to use what we call the Google Meet. We were able to use what we call the webinar, and life continued. So, Mr. Mwalidi Gari, I am always left wondering who bewitched us. Who is this person who bewitched us? Because we are saying every problem, a solution has been found. If it's about nowadays operating people, we no longer have what we call the open heart surgery. People, because of their brain capacity, which has been fully utilized optimally, they came up with what we call the laser technology, lighting by amplification, simulation, emission of radiation. So we do not necessarily have to open the chest to go to where your heart has an issue. Cardiologists have now come up with a newer modern way of solving that particular problem. When you have a problem with your head internal organs or head internal areas, we have what we call the MRI, the messaging resonance imaging. So they came up with a solution. When you have something in your chest, we have an X-ray. So they came up with that particular X-ray to solve a certain problem. Similarly, insurance companies came up with a solution that you need to take an insurance policy. And why do I encourage an insurance policy? I'll explain right now the difference between a bank account, why you shouldn't open a bank account for your child's education, and why you should take an insurance policy. If you put this money into a bank account, when you get broke, you are the very first person who go there and tell the bank manager, I want to withdraw this money. And if the bank manager asks you why you want to withdraw this money before the time that you had agreed, you become so agitated and you respond so negatively, the money belongs to me. So, and because the money belongs to you, surely, the bank manager will be left with no option apart from giving you access to that particular money. So you already consume money for whose purpose has not yet come. So the beauty with insurance is that we tailor-make products for you. We shall take a product tailor-made. We shall have a tailor-made product that will meet that particular specific need for a child's education, so that we'll be able to pay school fees for you comfortably. And the beauty with an insurance policy, and this is where many people fail to understand, this is an insurance policy is a contract. This is not like a bank account where you walk in and out at your leisure the way you want. And this is where people think that insurance people have, or insurance companies are bad organizations. They are not bad. It's because they have got what you call rules and regulations that must be followed. And insurance is a contract that has terms and conditions. So I will not explain the varied elements of a contract because I teach law in the university. But what I want you people to understand is that because you have got children, and in my due, if you belong to Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, the money that you're investing in our company, Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, it can be used in diversified areas depending on your needs and the reason as to why you invested with us. It can also be paying education, paying the deposit for a mortgage loan, buying a new car, going for holiday or something like that, even doing a wedding. But remember, you must have a financial objective. So the financial objective as far as this insurance contract is concerned is to ensure that we educate your child conveniently without you laboring to go and take loans from the banks. It is quite, let me say this, and this is where some people think that I'm proud. If I find you taking a loan to educate your child, you are a perfect example of a failure. Your child is not a balloon. Your child is not a car tire that you fill air. No, no, no. You have seen the child grow chronologically from 1 year old, from 1 day old to school attaining age. So it behooves on you. It is incumbent upon you, therefore, to plan for your child's education. And again, I'm going to give the distinction between a bank and an insurance company. When you take money to the bank, God forbid, God forbid, but these are things that happen. A few minutes ago, I talked about the passage of our president, the third president of the Republic of Kenya. We are all mortal. One day we shall die. People fear death. Does not matter how you refer to death. I can even use a very good language, which when we say language is a matter of semantics, that in the event God calls you home, in the event you miss your maker, in the event you go beyond the horizon, in the event you stop breathing, fine. I can coin that language to soothe your heart. But even if whichever language I use to soothe your heart, the bottom line is one thing, that like today, we got the shocking news that we lost our third president of the Republic of Kenya, the former president. It one day we shall be the subject matter. We are now, all of us, we are looking at our TVs and saying, our president, our dear president, our economist has passed on. Now, Kibaki today is the subject matter of many lips today. One day, we shall become the subject matter of discussion. People will be saying so and so passed on. Just like it has happened, you'll not be the first one, neither will you be the last one. So the best thing that you can do, if you put your money into a bank account and God calls you home, or you're recorded in heaven for further deployment, the bank, your next of kin or your beneficiaries, and note this and underline, remember, I'm a legal mind, and I want to help Kenyans, and I want to help all my viewers, because Kenyans are very, very ignorant. Majority of you watching me today, you have not even written what we call, you have not even written a will, because you have been wired to think that writing a will is a death sentence. That is what we call mental psychosis. It's not a death sentence. As a matter of fact, you're a responsible Kenyan when you write a will. Why? Because a will tells us, in the event you're not there, and remember, dead people don't talk, we'll be able to know what was your intention. How did you want your asset? How did you want your inheritance? Sorry, how did you want your wealth or your asset base to be distributed to your beneficiaries? Similarly, you see, in a bank, before the bank gives you the money, they require you to produce all the documents available so that you may become the bona fide person to be paid the benefits of the deceased. Sometimes, you need to have the documents to prove that you are the legitimate person who should be paid that particular money. Remember, in the process of actually looking for the legitimate documents, your child is hungry, you have been thrown out of the house by the landlord if you don't live in your own house, things have gone haywire. Now, the beauty with that, listen to this. If you had saved in the bank 8,000 shillings, the bank, assuming that you had put your records into place, the person whom we refer to as the legal personal representative, legal personal representative. I don't like using the pedestrian language, the next of kin, the beneficiaries, the nominees. I like using what is standard language from the law school. The legal personal representative, the person that you have appointed to be the apparent heir of your wealth, will be given that 8,000 shillings, period and period and period. That is the end of you. That's the end of your relationship between you and the bank. Now, unlike the bank now, an insurance company comes and says, if my director Onesimus Waiguru had taken a principal sum or a sum assured of 1 million shillings, and God calls you home through natural cause, I'll be explaining between natural cause and accidental death. Now, natural cause means in the event God called you home because of hypertension, blood pressure, in the event God called you home through a heart attack, in the event God called you home through diabetes, whether insipidus or mellitus, in the event God called you home through cancer, whether malignant tissue tumor or benign tissue tumor, in the event God called you home because of hematoma, breakage of capillaries that supply blood to the brains, in the event God called you home because of COVID-19, those are, when we talk about, let me now invoke my legal training. When we talk about natural death, we are saying there was no outward force that caused your death, outward force. There was no external force that came to you that led to your death. We shall pay the family members, note this. If you had taken a policy of 1 million shillings, we pay 500,000 shillings to the legal personal representative, note that. Unlike the bank that gives 8,000 shillings, the insurance company comes in and pays half the value of the principal amount. So we pay 500,000 shillings. And remember, payment of premium ceases. We have what we call waiver of premium. Waiver of premium means because the premium payer is dead, no more expectation of premiums from you. So we waive the premiums, and when the time comes for the child to go to other levels of school, we shall pay school fees until the child clears university. What else do you require? So even in the event of a natural death, we pay half the value of the principal sum. 500,000 becomes payable, and at the same time, the school fees will still be paid yearly until the child clears university. Now, in case of accidental death, we come in and pay the full value of the investment, the full value of the sum assured of the principal sum to the beneficiary. So the education of your child is guaranteed. What if you became permanently disabled? This is what we call total permanent disability, meaning that you become totally incapacitated, that you cannot engage in any gainful employment. I don't know what people want. Honestly speaking, sometimes I go before God, I kneel down and I tell God, God, make these people understand what I'm talking about. I have been to so many barriers, believe you me. When I look at the young children left behind by their parents, and even in the first place, the parents never gave these children what was supposed to be given to them because of financial constraints. Now the breadwinner is gone. I find myself shedding tears. Honestly speaking, I find myself shedding tears. Not once, not twice. And what pains me most is the person being interred into the grave had the opportunity to make a decision, but it became a cursing to procrastination, a cursing to postponement. Oh, and to you, my brother, my sister, watching me over there. If you have a young child, if you lay down to make a child, you must stand up to educate that child. You must be a responsible parent. It would be irresponsible of you. It would be totally irresponsible of you not to have a plan for your child's education. Because you don't know what tomorrow has for you. Even for me, I don't know what tomorrow holds for me. The only thing I know up to this time is that today I'm this old and today I did this. But what will happen the next minute, no one knows. So can you secure the education of your child by taking an education policy? And more so with Britam. That's the company I represent. I work for Britam. I'm their executive financial consultant, and you have premiums that can be afforded by any one of you, as long as you have got what we call the interest to know. So just call me. I'll give you this number before I call it a day. So remember, the best love letter that you can write to your child is by taking an insurance policy for your child, especially those parents with young children. And just like I told you the other day, it pains me to see you find gentlemen taking beer in a pub. I normally like giving this example. You find somebody taking at least 4 bottles of beer per sitting, and we assume you're taking in a local pub where a bottle of beer goes at 250. So 250 times 4 is 1,000 shillings per one sitting. And we assume that you take that beer the whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, up to Sunday. So you multiply 4,000. We say you take 4 bottles of beer. 1,000 times 7 is 7,000. You multiply by 4, 28,000 shillings per month, which does not add any value to your family. As a matter of fact, it puts you on a very precarious cliff of getting liver cirrhosis, and you leave us in a half. Surely, honestly speaking, if you smoke, I do not know personally, I've never smoked, but I understand a packet of cigarettes is going at about 100 shillings. And there are those who smoke two packets of cigarettes in a day. Notwithstanding, it is written, cigarette smoking is harmful to your health. And you still find an individual who takes it to be a version, somebody smoking, whether you smoke at smooth all the way, and the manufacturer has written on that particular packet that cigarette smoking is harmful to your health, and you continually take that particular stuff. And you have children here who are looking upon you. And when you die, you expect the pastor to come and say, it is the Lord who has given, it is the Lord who has taken away. It is not the Lord who has taken away. You have called yourself earlier than expected. So can we plan for our children? Let's be realistic, honestly. I'm a scholar, and I don't want to remind you that, because when I remind people, they think I'm proud. But that is me anyway. Even if you call an elephant a cow, it will not change its basic structure. It remains an elephant. I have gone through school. I've spent about 8.5 million shillings on my education, personal. I'm actually a walking mansion. Kebisho is a walking mansion, literally. 8.5 million shillings on my education. So I know how expensive education is, Mr. Samuel Nyoike. Bwana Nyoike, if you have a child out there, if you have the appetite of making children, and you have got maybe 5 or 10 or 6, like some of us have very many children, you should also have the same appetite to educate your children. It is, I don't even know how to say it, how to calmly say it. But you can tell me that you can be able to provide food for your children, clothes for your children, shelter for your children, and you don't plan for their education. It is not right. It is not right, Madam Queen Esther. And I'm telling you this. And the problem with us, we assume too much. There is nothing like holding all things constant. There is nothing like ceteris paribus. I'm actually writing a book on that. I'm in chapter 17, and I'm trying now to critique, to have what we call a critical analysis of that. There's nothing like holding all things constant. You can't hold all things constant. So can we plan for our children's education? You don't have to go far. You only require to call me. And I want to salute those people who have taken also education policies through me. I have sold more than 118,000 education policies to people. Yes, I have been born in Kenya for 14 years in a row. 14 years in a row. For those who know what I'm talking about, I have shown some of you newspaper cuttings where I have appeared in the newspaper, not in the obituary column, but shakers and movers, because of selling education policies to parents like you. So if you're interested in taking a policy with us, I'm only a phone call away. I'm only an email file away from where you are. We make sure that we plan for our children's education, because nobody knows what tomorrow has for us. No one knows, believe you me. No one knows. Nobody understands. It's only God who knows what our tomorrow holds for us. And because God has given us the brains, we need to use our brains to the maximum, because the wealthiest place in the world is in the grave. In the grave, there lies great parents who never became. In the graves lies great presidents who never became. In the graves lies the greatest violin players who never became. So in the graves, we have parents who wished that their children went through academic processes, but they didn't. So this is the only time you are in charge of yourself. In case of disability, we take care of that. Can we have an education policy for our children? If you're interested in that particular education policy, before I go to another area, kindly call me on the same number I've been giving you, 0722 633 021. Please feel free to call me. Call me. It is your own child. I'm not saying that you take an education to educate my children. No, I'm a responsible man. I'm educating my children as we speak. My daughter is deporting school next week. The other one is joining university next month also, maybe in September, depending on Professor Makoha. So, but I am not worried. I have already done what I'm supposed to do for my children. And this is what, can we make our payment of our school fees painless? And you know, Kenyans are very funny. They don't even, if I talk about planning for their retirement, it's like playing guitar to sheep. But believe me, time is coming, and there is nothing. And I repeat this, and I'll continually repeat this. The Bible says, during the times of your ignorance, I overlooked.
During the times of your ignorance, I overlooked. But now that you know, condemnation is upon you. You already know what I'm talking about here. You have seen in your neighborhood a child being sent home for school fees balance. There is nothing as embarrassing to see a child in town, instead, clad in uniform, full uniform. It is not mid-term. The schools have not closed, but your child comes to your working station where you walked as if you walked majestically without a braggadocio, walking there because you dress nicely, only to realize that about 11 o'clock, your daughter or your son is there looking for you, and everybody knows that you have not paid school fees. The respect they had for you gets completely eroded. Let's plan for our children. After all, aren't we the ones who made those children? And God made us to be responsible. So let's educate our children. Please don't hesitate to call me on 0722 633 021. And I want to thank those people once again. I've had enough the clients that I have for Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited. Some of you clients, you are very unique. You are the same parents that have sold the education policies too. You have money at Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, and at the same time, you have actually inboxed me on education policies for your students. That's being a responsible parent. I congratulate you. Those in I will not mention them. There are some of you that we started working even before Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited was formed. That is some people in Dubai, you know yourself. And you have even one lady, I will not just mention her name, one name. Esther, you have even referred me to about 3 gentlemen who are equally doing the same even now through Kebicho. And I thank God for you, Madam Esther. Just like the Bible says, you are the most favored. You are full of God's favor. Thank you so much, Esther. I will not mention the other names. You have referred to me. You have joined 4 of you. Then another person will not mention. I can still mention another Esther without mentioning the prefix because she has a very unique name, who joined education policy for her daughter again from Bahrain. I salute you wherever you are. So please, 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 Peter, pay more. Peter, I want you to pay more. If you're not going to pay more, get that name out of you. Peter, pay more. I do not know whether, Peter, you have got children. But if you have got children, please, and you're listening to me today, make a point of calling me on that number that I've given you, 0722 633 021. It will come to me directly. I'll be the one to handle it. It is not going to go through my PAs. I've got several PAs. I've got Mr. Ken Joroge, who is my PA. I've got Madam Mary Jog, who is my PA. And I've got Madam Judy, who is also my PA. I've got 3 PAs at different levels. But please make sure that you call me personally. I want to handle your education scheme personally for you. 0722 633 021. Mr. Onesimus Waiguru, I salute you. You know the journey we have walked. I thank God that you are a very you are a very pragmatic leader. You are a very, very organized gentleman. Thank you for planning for your children's education. Thank you that despite the fact that you're my director, you have done what is necessary. I thank you, God. Thank God for you, Madam Onesimus Waiguru. Kimani Joroge, you know our relationship. I salute you wherever you are. And I have always wanted to know whether this Kimani Joroge, because I've got 2 Kimani Joroges. Is this Kimani Joroge the one from the US? Or is this Kimani Joroge from Nakuru? Kindly let me know. Kindly let me know. Mr. Peter Kiongo, great information for us. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Kiongo. But I want us now to move beyond. Thank you so much, Queen Esteri from Bahrain. Once again, that is in Germany. I've been to that place. I have told you a number of occasions. But let's please plan somewhere on Yoike. And I wish some of you to be confirming to me if you have got young children. I wish you can give me the age of your children. Then I can be able to give you a quote. Then out of that quote, we can be able to progressively discuss and see what we can do. I personally thank God for the education that God enabled me to acquire. Everything I have personally is because of education now. Learning this office, Panorama Consulting Company Limited, learning Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, learning Kipmark Insurance Agencies, learning Zilmark Investment Ventures, it is purely because of education. Becoming an executive financial consultant with a company that is owned by World Bank 15% through what we call IFC, International Financial Corporation by the name Britam, which has won the award, Aki Awards for 19 years in a row. I thank God for that. For those who knew me when I was in Pan Africa Live, you knew, thank you so much. Residing in USA, but I come from Nakuru. Yes, Mr. Kimani, thank you so much, Mr. Kimani. I even know your first name now. Thank you so much, Mr. Kimani Joroge. And you know our relationship. I don't have to go into details. I have told you that I'm the one who teaches the students in the university what we call business values and ethics and professionalism and confidentiality. But I thank God for you, Mr. Kimani Joroge. So if you are there, I'm telling you, it pains me. It pains my heart. I teach in a university where I see students being told by the university, get out, go and come with an exam card. And when you see your brightest student being sent away from school fee, from the examination hall, you know how much it pains us, because these are the students who keep pulling the others in class so they may be able to proceed. So I wish all of you God's blessings, and I'm looking forward to those people who watch me, just like you have joined Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited in large numbers. Can we please plan so that the money that I will pay you from Quest Pinnacle Investment returns will not go towards the education of your children? It will go towards reinforcing your pension benefits, so that when you retire, you still eat the same meat you were eating. You still go to the same joint you were going. You still drive the same car, if not upgraded one. You still go for a hairdo. You still wear one of the watches that I will not mention the value of this watch. But I'm telling you, it gives you the pressure when you plan. People who plan their finances have the peace of mind. People who plan their finances, chances of even having family issues are very, very minimal. People who plan their finances, they have what we call, apart from the peace of mind, they have what we call anticipation for tomorrow, because they know everything is in good shape. With those many, many remarks, are there any questions that you want me to answer? Kindly throw a question to me. I'm here because of you. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, please, please, I know the journey I have walked. It pains me once again, Mr. Dennis Mwangi, to see a parent who has had me. You know, it is very, very painful. If you have a child there, because you are the one who made that particular child. Otherwise, you could not have had that particular responsibility on your shoulders. Now, because it is not, how do you go telling your child to perform in class? She'll just pose a question to you. Daddy, you want me to perform in class? We don't perform at home. We perform at school. My classmates are in class studying because their parents planned for their school fees. I don't know what you are doing in your case. When that kind of a conversation comes to you, you pray that the world may actually overcrack to you, like what happened to Balaam. That the world can swallow you. I don't want that thing to happen. Any questions from my brothers and sisters? Any questions? Any questions from the floor? We are still mourning the passage of our third president of the Republic of Kenya. May he rest in peace. Dennis Mwangi, any question? Kimani Njoroge, my good friend, any question? And Kimani Njoroge, let me say it here. Organize people in the US, especially in the state that you stay. I'll come and talk to Kenyans so that you may see me now face to face. I have no problem with the fare. I have no problem with the visa. Just give me an invitation. Organize men and women. I'll come to the US. And as I talk to Mr. Kimani Njoroge from the US, I'm also talking to you, Madam Queen Esther. Invite me in Berlin. I'll come. I've been to Stuttgart. I've been to Düsseldorf. I have been to Frankfurt. I've been to Munich. I'll come and share with Kenyans this information so that we can plan for our tomorrow. Any questions before I terminate this particular video coverage? Please, if you have a question, ask. Get me on 0722 633 021. For those who have planned, for those who have taken education policies for their children with me, may God bless you. For those people who have taken heed to my advices, may God bless you. Remember, in a crowd or in a multitude or in a cloud, there are those who take things seriously, and there are those people who assume it was only another passage of time. Now, about the circles, I can see Mr. Dennis Mwangi. I'm going to recommend to you the circle that I am in personally. I am going to recommend to you the circle that I also use. The circle that has given me loans, the circle that has given me good dividends, the circle. Okay. Let me first of all, Mr. Peter Kiongo, thank you very much. This is what I like. This is what we call an interactive session. Let me first of all talk about circles. We have got so many circles in Kenya, and circles are regulated by Circle Societies Regulatory Authority, SASLA, Circle Societies Regulatory Authority. Circle, just like Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited. And when you hear me talking about Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, Quest Pinnacle and Paul Kibisho are inseparable. They are Siamese twins. They are identical twins. So there's no way I can speak without talking about Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited. So what circles basically do, the only difference between what Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited is doing and what circles do is at Quest Pinnacle Investment Ventures Limited, we have what we call standard way of paying. that you must reach a certain level. You must pay 16,000 shillings per month if you can afford to be paying monthly. You can pay a whole year, you can pay for 2 years or 3 years, and you can pay on a given date on 10th. Now, a SACCO, what SACCOs do basically is that they invite, or rather, they recruit people, members from all over. SACCOs don't have, many SACCOs in Kenya no longer have what we call the common board. The common board used to refer to this, if a group of people with common interest. If there are teachers, they used to have what we call teacher SACCOs. If you went to Nyeri town, they used to have what we call Nyeri Teacher SACCO, which is now called today New 40 SACCO, which is whose CEO is Mr. Madeji and the chairman is Mr. Gedenji. If you go to Metropolitan National SACCO, it used to be called Kiabu Teacher SACCO, which later on went ahead and removed the common board from being a teacher SACCO to a conglomerate of membership. Conglomerate means people coming from all over, where you contribute money. Once you contribute money, the money that you pay to them every month, or depending on how you pay, they call them shares. So if you say 50,000 shillings, they can give you a loan times 3 the number of shares that you have. So you have got 50,000 shillings, they give you times 3, which comes to 150,000 shillings. And they don't ask for collaterals. They don't ask you for title deed. They don't ask you for share certificate. They don't ask you for commercial papers. They do not ask you for treasury bills and what have you. What they ask you for is what we call the guarantors. Guarantors are people who are also members in that particular SACCO, who come and guarantee you. So that in case you don't pay the money to the SACCO, the people who will pay the money for you will be the guarantors, which is a little bit punitive and it's very punitive. So you can be given a loan. And the SACCO that I'm currently using personally as Dr. Paul Kebicho or Professor Kebicho is Olin SACCO. Olin SACCO. And Olin SACCO is formerly what used to be called Mohegia Teacher SACCO, originally from Kirinyaga County. It was originally domiciled within Kirinyaga County, and the membership was coming from what we call the teaching fraternity. But they opened the common board. So if you go to Olin SACCO today, and for information, I'm the ambassador for Olin SACCO. That's what I'm talking about, Olin SACCO, where I belong. So we'll go to Olin SACCO. They have branches all over. In Thika, they have a branch in Kajiado. They have a branch in Kimana. They have a branch in Narok. They have a branch in all over. Kerowea, they are all over. Kutus and all. So that is what you do. So what you do is that you go and join them. Once you join them, and they gave a dividend. Let me first of all make it very, very clear. For ordinary shares, they gave a dividend at 11%. And for what we call share capital, they gave at 17.5%. So that is the share the SACCO I would recommend you for. And the beauty with the SACCO again, unlike a bank, in a bank when God calls you home, in a bank when you die, the family members can only access the savings that you had saved in that particular bank. So if you had 50,000 shillings in the bank and God calls you home, your legal personal representative will be given 50,000 shillings. However, in a SACCO, even if you had a loan of 150,000 shillings that you had only paid for 1 month, the SACCO will come and pay the family members your total shares. If you had 50,000, they will give the family members 50,000 times 2. They normally multiply times 2 the number of shares that you had. So they do not come take auctioning your property. So they give the family members times 2 the number of shares that you had, and over and above that, they waive the premium. They have what we call a risk fund. A risk fund, by extension, is an insurance policy given to borrowers. So the financing institution here, which is called the SACCO, is the one that takes what we call a policy to protect borrowers from auctioneers. So we have what we call a loan policy, a risk fund. So the money that you had saved with the SACCO, if it's $1 million, they shall give 1 million times 2, that is 2 million. And again, there's what we call the benevolent fund. They also pay the fare to heaven for you. They also help in burial preparation. They have what we call a benevolent fund. Some companies pay, some SACCOs pay 30,000, others pay 50,000 shillings, which is paid to the family members to ease the burden of burial for the member. So they also give that money to the benefit to the next of kin or the legal personal representative. And at the same time, they waive the loan for you. So I would urge you, whatever, as you listen to me today, and I do not want you to, okay, SACCOs also give school fees loans, but I don't want you to go to SACCOs to borrow loans to educate your children. As a matter of fact, what I want from you is to borrow money to develop yourself. For education,
education policy will do that, and what I told you earlier on. Let's come to the issue of, so I hope you have understood a little bit on SACCOs, Mr. Peter Kiongo. And for more information, why don't you call me Mr. Peter Kiongo on 0722 633 021, 0722 633 021. Let's come to the right time to start the policy for the kid. For me, and I have a newspaper cutting here in my office, anytime I see signs of pregnancy in my wife, the moment my wife starts experiencing what we call the medical terms hyperemesis gravidarum. Hyperemesis gravidarum from the medical perspective is morning sickness. Or anytime she misses her menstrual cycle, I start planning for that child. We do not require the name of the child. What we write there, where we should write the name of the child, we normally write TBE, TBA, to be advised. Name of the child, to be advised. So you can even start an education policy now for the child who has not been born. So the best time to start, if you are thinking of starting a family, start now saving for that. Come take an education policy for the children who are unborn. Why? Because money is not payable to the school, money is payable to the parent. You are the one to know how much to pay to a school and how much to pay to this other school. So you can take Mr. Peter Kiongo, you can even take education policies for unborn children, because we don't ask for details, the birth certificates and what have you. The only thing that helps us when you have a living child is that we can be able to compute which policy best suits that particular child. And that is why I said we have what we call tailor-made products for the children. I hope I've answered your question. Any other question, honorable members? Any other question, honorable members? Please feel free to ask me. And for those who have got questions, kindly feel free to ask me questions through my number 0722 633 021. I hope I'll be getting calls from you. So may God bless you. I always appreciate you people. I appreciate your company. Thank you so much, Kemani Joroge, Moridi Gari, Samuel Nyoike, Queen Esteli, Peter Pemo, Peter Kiongo, Dennis Mwangi. Thank you so much. I wish you God blessings, and I look forward to meeting you one of these fine days. Kindly continue talking to me for more analysis. God bless you all.